and that represents the teachings of Neem Karoli Baba, Ram Dass, and all of our other teacher friends that we've been associated for decades. Jack Cornfield, Sharon Salzberg, Joseph Goldstein, on and on and on. And they're all part of the BeHereNowNetwork.com podcast channel.
Well, we got all that. So, Raghu Markus, you are also the producer of Becoming Nobody.
Correct.
And the question here on Play It Forward is, why did you want to make that film? And when I ask you why, I know Ram Dass is going to be turning 89. He's going to be transitioning into the next chapter of his being soon. And, there's that practical aspect. What's the impractical aspect? What's the passion that motivated you to make this movie?
Well, first of all, Jamie Cato, the director,
right,
who has done, some really cool films, One Giant Leap, What About Me? I knew them, and I had met him, and I knew his history with Ram Dass. So he pitched me this idea of doing something that was more transformational than bio. So this is not a biographical movie, although it has some arc of Ram Dass's life in it, for sure, because that's part of the story, the whole psychedelic thing with Tim Leary and all of that. But it's more about what's the core of what he has represented from this lineage for all of these years. And we wanted that to be captured. So Jamie came with that concept to me. And what I have been trying to do for years, not even trying that hard, but it's a mandate that I had from Ram Dass, was to make sure that this material and this content, these teachings, would get out to the next generation, and that we needed to get them on the kinds of platforms that people nowadays, young, especially next gen, are wanting to get it on. So that happened, and we have most of the people that work for the foundation are really in their 20s and 30s, and they really have their pulse, have the on what people want and how they want it delivered. So what Jamie was suggesting with this film really fit for me in terms of manifesting that mandate, which is to really get this out so that next generation, and then beyond that, as you say, Ram Dass is, he's getting close to his transition, although we've been saying that for years and years with him. Yeah. He's pretty indefatigable. I mean, he's amazing. But all of us are, it's limited for sure, and we absolutely. So the primary motivation for this film was to make sure that we really got a film that would represent the core of what Ram Dass has been sharing all these years.
So I get that, and I feel that, and you want to take that knowledge and take the learning to the next level, to the next generation, really not next level, but yeah. Why? I mean, it's still the question is why.
Why? Okay, why? The why is easy, actually. The why is when Ram Dass first came back from India in 1968, after he had been there for about 7 months, and met Neem Karoli Baba. When he came back, just before he came back, we call him Maharaji, as you know, said to Ram Dass, "Don't talk about me in the West." Okay?
Yeah, I know.
That's all he did, Ram Dass. He never said the name, and he never said the where. But that's all he did was talk about him. And recently I said to Ram Dass, "He told you not to do it. Why'd you do it?" He said, "I couldn't help myself. I had to share this jewel that I brought back. I had no choice."
Well,
so just fast forward to this movie. That is our legacy. One of the biggest legacies is certainly Maharaji, Love, Serve, Remember. In the movie, Ram Dass wanted a meditation practice so he could become enlightened, and Maharaji said, "Feed and serve people," and he thought, "What? I came all the way here for that, that kind of a thing. But the essence of it is sharing, that we have no choice but this impulse to share.
Well, what
Period.
what I hear that as well, but what I'm trying to push for is to go deeper underneath those layers, because to me those are still layers, right? There's a deeper layer. So Maharaji's saying, okay, well, don't speak to me. That to me is Leela, right? That's the playfulness, the playful
Don't
quality,
speak of me. Yeah.
or yeah, don't speak of me. That's the playful quality. That's Leela.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with that term, probably, or I would imagine Leela, the playful kind of aspect of the divine, right? The universe kind of fucking with you, so to speak. And so, that's Maharaji
Yeah.
fucking with Ramdas because he knows Ramdas is going to go out there and spread the word, and
Yeah.
that's even more fuel to go out there and spread the word. But why try to reach people, right? Why, even Ramdas talks about the last, in this film, he talks about the last chain, right? The last chain of from freedom is that golden chain of self-righteousness, right? So are you preaching a message to save people?
Yeah, I've really followed Jimmy Swaggart for a long, long time. And I want to embody what he represents. I'm kidding you, of course. Uh, I don't, that never occurs to me.
But
Okay, all
that
I can
part in
tell
the
you is
movie.
the gut level thing.
What's that?
I can
That's
only
what I
tell you,
want.
you
It was a
want that?
gut level thing. And why?
Okay.
What is it? What
I
is it?
mean,
Is it
the
your
only thing
connection
that, no, no, it's all
to
bullshit. The only
Maharaji?
thing, no,
Yeah.
the
So
only,
what
I
is it?
mean, it's all of that. The only thing that matters to me, that makes me happy, is seeing people light up in front of the divine presence. Period. That's my motivation. There isn't any other thing that fulfills me like that. And it's not to feed my ego, it's a delight. I mean, I just was in India, and I have gone to India, every year for most of my, since I first was there. And we had, Maharaji left a woman saint named Siddhima, who was like our Indian mother. And I
Yes.
used to go there every year, and I would, people would ask, can I come along? And you could, and I would introduce them to her. And the delight in just seeing these people open up because they've never
That's it.
been in
That's what I
that
wanted.
kind
And
of
you know what
presence.
I'd say? Raghu, what I would say, what I would posit is that it's a reflection of your own awakening and experience that you get to relive.
Yeah, it's good. I never thought of it, but I'll buy it.
Cool, cool. And that's the union. That's the hit. You keep getting that hit.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
your unity.
Yeah. But
And
there's
yet
also
you could
some.
go beyond that.
But I mean, I don't think about it that much. But there's also something to. I mean, for instance, in my job, I get tons of emails, Ramdas and I, for that matter, of some really dark stuff and a lot of suffering. Right,
Totally.
natural because people are writing him, and so what else? What else do you do but try and help somebody on any
Well,
level?
okay. But then there's another aspect. You that's a good question. But if you're free, right? If you're at a place where you could do that, you could continue to help, or you could say, fuck it. What does it matter?
No, if you're
Because
any,
it's all going to free itself ultimately.
yeah,
Everything's
yeah,
going
yeah. But
to.
no, no, free. First of all, we're not free. The only free I ever saw was Neem Karoli Baba. That's a free being. Okay, that's no more subject object, no more polarity, no nothing. You're talking to someone. It's not like you can have this kind of conversation with a being like that. You're just entering into a space and just sitting in it. So I don't. We are all aspiring to be free of the negative emotions and thoughts and selfish blah blah, right? That's what we're aspiring to do, and we're on the road to do it, and that's it.
or or we just it's a flip of a channel, right? Or it's just a matter of staying at that channel. Why not?
Staying at what channel?
At that channel, how Ram Dass talks about
Yeah,
there's
yeah, I
channel one,
know.
channel two,
Yeah.
three, right? That highest channel.
No, we're not staying on that highest channel. If we could, we would be, a fabulous thing. We
But
are
are
on the
you
way.
limiting
We are
yourself?
moments in that channel. We are moments in the heart space. We are moments out of our self-interest. Yes, and we want to expand and make spacious those moments. But we are also caught a lot of the time. And hopefully we have enough mindfulness and awareness to allow that caughtness to burn off.
You know, there's a wonderful moment in the movie where Jamie asks Ram Dass. He says, Ram Dass, I wake up in the morning and I have
Yeah, yeah,
pain, right?
yeah.
And he keeps saying it, right? And what does Ram Dass say?
Thoughts,
It's in the mind.
thoughts,
It's
yeah.
in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the mind. And what Maharaji, as a reflection of all of us, God, Guru, and Guruji, is able to show us that that is accessible to us all.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's yeah, but it's a process. It's a process. We are in process.
Agreed.
Okay.
We're in process.
Period. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What? But thank you. You know, I appreciate it because that's a heartful answer. It's a meaty answer. And the next question. What? What do you see the film trying to say or saying? What do you see the film saying? Or what did you want to say with the film? And I would venture to say that maybe what do you see the film saying? That sort of kernel that you resonate with.
I mean, it's the title. It's all about realizing the somebody that we create, how that gets done, and the identities and the roles and the habitual patterns and the neurotic tendencies. And then as the film goes on a little bit, you see some of the anecdotes to the antidotes
Mm-hmm.
to that by virtue of the kinds of practices Ram Dass talks about, it by virtue of service. To me, the penultimate moment in the movie is when he says, it's about getting to zero. Then you have all power. Right? That means becoming nobody. It's like I tell some of the audience when I go around, becoming nobody. My experience of that was when I first met Ram Dass in Montreal. I was running a radio station.
25, right?
Huh?
You were 25, right?
No, I was 23.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yep.
Anyhow, when I met him, he was, without any effort, Ram Dass and Richard Alpert no longer were existent. He just completely embraced me in presence, not his, in presence, and full on attention, full on caring. And nobody had done that. Maybe my mother when I was a baby, I don't even know. But nobody, certainly as an adult or even as a kid, had done that. And that created instant trust.
Yeah.
Okay. And we all can do that. Just
Yeah.
like I'm paying attention to you now, if we're talking about, so I'm not thinking about myself. I'm responding to us.
Likewise.
Yeah. So when that happens, that is, it's a small little pea in the big pot, but it is, again, part of, as I said, the process of getting so that we are as the Dalai Lama said, kindness is my only religion. So it's about kindness, it's about caring, it's about compassion and love. What can we do for our fellow humans, right? It's not about us becoming enlightened so that we can, have more fun, that we can help it. It's not about that. It's the moment of actually embodying simple things like giving someone full-on attention. So the movie really is a progression you see, and certainly this, the chat with Jamie and Ram Dass, and you see, I mean, by the end where Ram Dass says, "You're a good son. I just see you as a soul. You don't see yourself, but you can see the absolute encapsulation of love that he's in that moment, and completely a nobody in that moment. And Ram Dass is more in the nobody moment than most people I've met or I see these days. And I know a lot of teachers and so on, and there's no denying his ability to just eradicate, not at all be concerned about himself and give everything to somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's one of his very unique, special qualities, and I really see it him, for me, in what I've encountered of Ram Dass is real courage, and
Mm,
uh, you know,
that's it. Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
to be nobody, because he talks about how nobody or becoming somebody comes from a deprivation model,
Yeah.
right? And so, well, then the reverse is true. Becoming nobody would come from an abundance model. And he has the intellect and the strength and the heart to, once he saw the Maharaji named Curly Baba, that is truth, to then not forget and
Yeah.
then practice all these
Yeah, he
techniques.
went for it. He went for it big
He went
time.
for
Those of us that were there, we all did. I mean,
yeah,
it was over the second I met Maharaji. I knew, okay, I'm going to have to fulfill all this karma, which I didn't quite grasp the gravity of how much of that there was. But that rudder is there.
yeah.
Forget about it. As soon as that happened,
And
yeah.
what do you
And
think? Yeah.
no, no, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think I felt like I touched a nerve when I said how courageous he is. I don't think, that's uh, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's gone overlooked or not. I don't know.
Do
But
you know the story that Krishnadas tells about being with Maharaji in a hotel room in Mumbai?
I don't think so.
Okay, so he's in the hotel room. Maharaji's with an Indian devotee, and Krishnadas is there. And out of the blue, Maharaji says, courage is a very important thing. Right? The devotee that was with Maharaji said, but Maharaji, this is a path of Guru Kripa, grace of the Guru. There's nothing to do with us thing. And then Maharaji looked back to Krishnadas and said, courage is he repeated himself.
Yeah.
So then this was something great for Krishnadas because all through his life, whenever there's been some real tough moments, that comes into his frontal lobe
Yeah.
and is a way for him to be able to relax into whatever that suffering might be.
Yeah.
And yes, Ramdas has embodied, well, I mean, Jesus, you can't imagine, wheelchair 22 years, the kind of shit
Yeah.
that he goes through on a day to day.
He's
And
got
I
some
sit with him and he's like ebullient and I mean, I keep saying this, if I had 10%, if I do have 10% of that fortitude, I'd be happy when I get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
courage, absolutely.
yeah. Uh, so thank you.
Mm.
The next question is, what did you learn, in this process of making this movie? You've been with Maharaji, you've been with Ram Dass for years and years and years. Here is another chance to reflect on all of this.
Well, the interesting thing is, of course, I've worked with this material. I mean, I've worked with Ram Dass off and on forever. Um, so you'd kind of go, okay, been there, done that. I've heard this shit before. And as I've had to, worked with the film, as you know, how many times do you go through it over these 4 years that it took to make this film? And I just, it opened in Asheville, North Carolina last night where I used to live. I mean, I'm back here to, I did a panel around it and all that kind of stuff. And I actually thought before I went to the theater, oh shit, I gotta sit through this again. Oh my God, I'm tired. I just got back from, all that self story that we like to tell ourselves. But then I just let go of it and I sat there. And, there was more moments of opening up of a doorway of understanding a little bit more. So what I'm finding with this film is the way in which uh, the transformational properties that it has in many different ways, and certainly everyone is like blown away by the death stuff that towards the end of the film, in terms of how they've related to it in their life. That's a very big topic that I'm so happy had, of course, Ram Dass has worked with dying people, forever. And so to be able to have that in the film in the way that it is so powerful is a very great thing. So there are things, as I watch this film, even on repeated basis, it still opens up doorways for me in terms of some of the truths that are being expressed by Ram Dass.
Okay, and one example of that comes to mind.
There's a sequence in which he goes to a friend's bedside who's dying and is in, tremendous pain, cancer, cervix. And the way that he...
It's the woman at the end?
It's the woman. It was a friend of Aldous Huxley's, Laura Huxley's, actually. Aldous' wife. And the way in which he talks about the acceptance of her pain without thinking that he can do anything to change that. That was a good example. Somehow that just hit me. It's like, yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, people going in and bedside with anybody who's either really sick or someone who's passing, thinking in any way that they can have, any idea of ameliorating the pain and suffering that someone's in. There's always that thing you want to do that. It's like people in relationships. Like the wife comes and says, I got to talk to you about this, and immediately the man goes, okay, how can I fix this thing? Especially men, right? We like to fix shit. And so I really got that message. It ain't about that at all.
Yeah, I did too. And I think to lay it out a little more specifically, in my understanding of it, is he talks about a moment of presence. He talks about not rejecting death, not trying to, put a box around it when he talks about his mom and her death and what that was like. And everybody's like, oh, you look great. But then they walk out the door and she's going to be dead in 2 weeks. Yeah. So he talks about being present with her and filling himself with the divine.
Yeah.
And in that.
Yeah. Just in the case of what I was talking about, it wasn't so much about that. It was more about how, again, we want people's experience of pain and suffering to change. And when we bring that in, we are missing the point. And that's what I got in that moment.
Yeah. That's cool. Yep, I get it. Acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not easy when someone is writhing in pain in front of you.
Sure.
So that's why everybody out there, it doesn't matter if you're 18 years old, you better start thinking about practice, so that we don't know the moment anything is going to happen now, do we? And so being in practice, even never mind yourself, for somebody else, a friend, I mean, God forbid, but, many young people are, get sick just, or have accidents. And so if you do that practice, whatever it may be, to get you into the place where you're not caught in fear, you can help somebody.
Yeah, there it is, fear again.
Yeah.
And courage. Yeah, he says around that time, I think it's something to the effect of, for those who...
Yeah, for those who wake up in the morning can die at night.
Something to that effect,
yeah, something like that.
For those who look for the way, for those who
find
the
way in the morning.
And arrive at night or something to that effect.
Can die at night.
Yeah, he actually says die.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe we all look for the way, be on the way without looking, and arrive without arriving.
Again, to get to really embody the way so that one can leave without any caughtness in our ego minds, it's a lot of practice. So I prefer to not get into the some of the up levels that we can get into about this stuff, and just get down to the nitty gritty. And that's why, you know, we do provide, actually, this movie alongside it, if you go to becomingnobody.com, we have what's called a starter kit, where you can actually start doing the practices that Ram Dass has recommended over the years that put you on that path to become the way, so that at night you can lead. You know, that thing that he says. So that, you know, let's not forget that, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. You can't
Definitely.
just think about this shit. You actually got to do the kind of practices that, you know, help drive you into the center of your chest rather than identify with. That's why Ram Dass's loving awareness practices are really effective.
Yeah, it's a beautiful practice.
Yeah, really.
It's a beautiful practice. Raghu,
Constantine.
thank you very much. It's been an honor and pleasure to have you on Play It Forward. We will post any of the links that we've discussed, and we will share it with our audience. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll share back through our social media. So just let me know, and pleasure to meet you, and all success to your endeavor.
Thank you, man.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in this week. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and leave us a like and or a comment. It makes a big difference. Play It Forward is brought to you by Digipops, where we're building a community to put film and filmmaker discovery in your hands. Here, filmmakers and fans create a class recognizes each other fairly and transparently through a community-curated film festival each quarter. It's coming soon. Thank you.